everyone, welcome back to another video on the channel. We're back with season 22, round 2 of the Manufacturers Championship. As you can see, they're starting in pole position, GTP, Twizzy and TRL Org starting in second place. We managed to get ourselves up to third place in this highly competitive race. We had quite a few number of really fast drivers in this lobby, and I was reasonably happy with the qualifying. We did it on lap 1 though. Again, I didn't get my lap together when I changed my tyres and had the lower fuel. We were 4 attempts up on the lap we had done, going through the mid-sector split, so we were going to be pretty much identical to the leaders' lap times, but we failed. We spun it on the pretty much the last corner and wrecked the lap. So unfortunately we didn't get the lap in that I really wanted to, but again, I'm not disappointed with a third place in this race against some really tough competition. And obviously it's a top split race. You got TRL there, I think he's the champion of last season, possibly, I can't remember. I did see his name pop up on the championship description at some point. So we decided to go for this season in the Manufacturers Championship. This is probably going to be my first season because of the T500 RS issues that we had last season, when halfway through after 2 rounds it stopped working. So this will be probably my first proper season on the game. And we decided to go with Toyota. Obviously the new system now, where it only takes 2 drivers from each manufacturer, is going to make it extremely difficult, especially when TRL Org is using the same car as us. So he's pretty much, I'm guessing he's going to end up in the first person for the top 24 stars, and then it's going to be a battle between quite a few drivers to get that last spot. I'm going to show you, go through the details at the end of the race, show you the table and stuff, and show you it's going to be a real fight. But I'm going to do my best to try and get into that race. I still don't really agree with the way they're doing it. I would rather a few more cars. I think it should be at least 4 drivers per manufacturer. I think restricting it to 2 is a little bit harsh, you know, because there's going to be very good drivers that are going to miss out on it. Maybe weaker drivers that just chose cars that aren't that good just to get into the 24 race. So that's just my opinion, but it does add a lot of variety into these races, a lot of different cars. As you can see there, we're a go for the race, and we're starting P3. Straight away, we're going to try and get in the slipstream. You can see going into turn 1, I accidentally put it into the wrong gear. I don't know what I was doing then. I think I thought I was in 4th gear, so I thought I was going down to 3rd, but I was actually in 3rd, and I went down to 2nd. Luckily got away with that, and no real loss, just a little bit of fuel that probably just burned away for no reason. But as you can see there, we're right behind the 2 leaders. I knew for a fact that these guys would be fuel saving. They're very fast drivers. They're pretty much the fastest on the game. A couple of the fastest on the game, these 2. So to stay with these guys, I was going to have to probably burn a little bit more fuel. Also there you can see TRL has a massive moment on the exit of the corner there. Nearly loses it, but manages to save it. Some really nice driving. So instead of just trying to make a move on him, I decided to go into fuel saving 6 and then back down to 1. Really, I should have gone down. I should have been using 2 fuel mixture more through these corners and stuff. Really, I don't know why I wasn't doing it. It was a daft decision that I didn't do that. Looking back on it though, you know, that this is looking back on the race, and after you do it, but it's one thing I wish I would have done now at this point, is to use a lower fuel mixture for these corners. I was still on fuel mixture 1, but I was short shifting slightly. Maybe I should have used fuel mixture 2 a little bit more just for the corners there, just to save that little fraction bit more fuel. As you can see there, we're still in the slipstream though, and we've got the cameras up above. We've got the TV replay camera, and we've got the camera on TRL Org at the moment. You can see there, looking back at ourselves driving, so you can see the action from that point of view also. So we're coming to the end of lap 1, and you can see we're staying with the guys in the lead there. Obviously we're trying to save fuel as much as possible. I should have really done a little bit more. As TRL Org has another massive moment coming off of turn 1. Now that one was extremely lucky. He just about got away with that. That was close to being the end of the race for himself. And obviously pushing that car in certain areas a little bit too hard. I was quite surprised because I found this car, I'm in the same car as him, and I actually found this car really stable and settled. Didn't really have any issues in the race at all in terms of stability issues. As you can see, I like this car. It suits my driving. I genuinely do like a car that, although not fast down the straights, has strong handling through the corners. I've said it before, it goes back to my Apex Elite Tier racing in Project Cars. I used to always pick a car that wasn't necessarily the fastest but could really handle corners, and I tended to do well that way. As you can see there, we're getting really close to TRL Org now. Just trying to save some fuel again, and then just for the little burst of acceleration, put it back to 1 and trying to save fuel. You can see I'm still trying to save fuel at this stage, into 2 fuel mixture, and just trying to stay with his slipstream and save fuel at the same time now. And you can see also in the lead there is GTP Twizzy in the NSX, sorry, the GR.4 version, obviously, because we're in the GR.4 class. and he's driving reasonably well. It looks comfortable at the moment. He doesn't seem to be making any massive errors at the moment. I can't properly see his lines at the moment though, obviously slightly covered by Org there, but Org for the first 2 laps looked very, very unstable, like he was really pushing there. But again, going wide a bit there on that corner. He nearly went a little bit wide in that corner, but it was pretty much on the limit actually. He did that reasonably safe. It was just a bit very, you know, that corner is one of the corners that I tried to stay away from the gravel on the left, because even if you've got an inch of your tyre in that gravel, it was just going to spin you out, and he did an amazing job. I have to credit him on that, at saving that car on that lap 2. Incredible save that. So you can see there behind us, we've got a bit of a gap building up there. You can see on the top right hand corner on the replay camera, we've got about a 1.5 second gap to the guys behind in 4th and 5th. I wasn't really concentrating on them too much at this point. I was just trying to stay in the cars ahead of me slipstream. That was my aim at this point, just stay in the slipstream and save as much fuel as I can. I think I could have got away with saving a little bit more fuel than what I was doing. It was probably possible, but it was just I didn't want to risk losing the slipstream. I wanted to stay with them and then be able to pressure them after the pit stop phase. That was the aim of it. I wanted to really attack on the last phase and really go at it flat out on the last phase. You can see there's a definite gap building up behind me as the Lexus, is it the Lexus RCF, I think, in the guy behind me? Yeah, it's the RCF GR.4. It's a Lexus. That car is not the best at handling, but it is nearly impossible to overtake. The straight line speed that car has got is insane. So for tracks like Monza, that car will be an extremely strong car. And again, Org gets so close to that left-hand gravel. He was getting, I think he was using all his lives up in this race. He was getting so close, and he was really lucky to get away with some of these. This is another reason I was thinking, do I get really close to him the way he's driving? Is it worth the risk of, you know, using one throughout the whole lap for 1 lap and trying to make a move on him? It really wasn't worth I didn't feel like it was worth it. I felt like it was better for me to just stay within, like, try and keep the gap at under a second, stay as close-ish as I could. If I felt I was dropping back, just go up to 1 and then just try and stay in his slipstream, and then if he made a mistake, I could utilise that and try and get nearer to him in that phase if something happened, maybe, and get past him if he makes a mistake. As you can see now, going through these corners, this 86 GR4 really likes this section of track on Brands Hatch. I was able to carry so much speed through the corners through this section. Obviously, it's not really about straight line speed. It was also mainly about just pure cornering, grip and acceleration through the corner there. But as soon as we get to the straights is where the 86 GR4 was losing a lot of its time, and that's the only issue I have with this car, and it could come to be an issue in the next track. I think the next track, which I've just been practicing for earlier this morning, I did a half an hour just to qualify, got myself number 4 on the top 10 stars. It seems like a power track, so in the race I think I'm going to have to do a lot of defending and just try and get some sort of result out of it. But again, I will upload that race no matter what the result is and what happens, unless we get disconnected like we did in the Nations Cup. I'll obviously upload that race no matter what, and then, you know, if we crash, we crash. No matter what happens, I'll be uploading that race. I want to share with you guys every single race in these FIA races. And what I plan to do is, as well, at the end of each season, so at the end of each week, is do a little highlights of each race and go through some of the clips and the saves, etc. TRL save there, some overtakes that happened in each race and stuff, and just give a brief little roundup of each round in the season, and then obviously go through to whoever won it in the end. Obviously, we're not going to be able to race if we don't get the top 24 stars, because I think there's one place up for grab, like I say, that is going to be after TRL Org. I think he's got that place in this 86 GR4, and there's going to be one other place. I will do my best to try and get in there, but there's some very, very strong drivers also trying to get that. As you can see, GTP Twizzy has a massive moment, also nearly loses his car, manages to save it. Them curbs can be really dangerous depending on what car you're in. I found them okay in the 86, but he lost a place there, and Org has managed to get himself into the lead and into the driving seat of this race now. So my aim now again is to try and get into Twizzy's slipstream. You can see we had a little moment on that last corner there which stopped me getting on the power. You can see I'm now losing out going down the straight, because as we got on the power, the rear wanted to just step out a little bit, and I had to save it and back off the power. But luckily we didn't lose too much time, and this is how I knew they were saving fuel, because the way I caught up to them that easy. So I knew they were saving fuel, and I knew at this stage I was probably going to be maybe a little bit lighter on fuel than they are. They probably saved a bit more fuel than me, as I was obviously just trying to stay in the SIP team. I could have probably have done this a bit better and been reasonably close to them in fuel, but I obviously, when you're in the heat of the moment in the race, you're not 100% thinking about your fuel. I was trying to save fuel as much as I could, but sometimes if you try and do it too much, you can just lose concentration and stuff like that. So you can see there also in P4, the guy behind us is over 2 seconds behind us at this stage, but we're going to go through this corner now. You can see there GTB Twizzy, he was getting close to that curb on the left hand side with that NSX, and also going through it. This is a curb that's, I think, tried to spit him out before. I actually found that curb with this car no issue at all. It just wasn't bothering me. I probably wasn't pushing the limits as far as the guys ahead though, that's the only thing. I do try, the aim of my game plan for this season is to try and keep it on the track, get the best results I can, and see if we can just get solid, consistent results to get us into that top 24 stars race. As you can see there, we've cut up massively on GTP Twizzy now, as I think he's going into massive fuel safe mode before the pit stop. Obviously, knowing that TRL Org has managed to get past him, he's obviously thinking, I'm going to try and save some fuel now. And he had a moment then going into that corner. As you can see there, he lifted off and then just chucked it in, and he caught me out a little bit going through that corner, and I had to kind of I did panic a bit. I thought I was going to hit him, but obviously the way he did it was he got on the accelerator and he was okay there. But like I say, I think his aim was to save some fuel on this these laps and get himself in a position to try and jump Org in the pit stop. You can see they've got similar kind of speed. Org is a very fast driver though. I think he's one of the fastest on GT Sport. There is obviously faster on different countries and stuff, and but in Europe he's one of the top 10, I would say, on the game. He's definitely one of the best that I've come across, especially on some tracks in GR.4. He's really a very, very fast driver. So you can see there the gap to the guys behind has gone down a bit now. It's now under 2 seconds, so fourth place has actually caught up a bit there. It's actually changed over from the I think the RCF has been overtook now, so we've now got a different car behind us, which clearly has got a bit more speed. But that turn one, obviously, where we had to back off and got a little bit close to hitting Twizzy, has obviously caused a bit of a loss of time on our behalf. So we need to just knuckle down now at this stage and try and keep up with the guys in front. This is why I really enjoy GT Sport. I mean, this racing feels, when you're involved with these races where it's just so close and one mistake will cause you, to be out of the race, it is really quite intense. It makes you quite nervous as well. You really 100% concentration basically is needed at all times. One little error and that's your race over. Because if I make one error and lose say 5-6 seconds, as Twizzy there gets very close to the edge again, if you lose 5-6 seconds on in a race like this, you could drop down a number of places. As you can see there, we're getting close coming through that corner again. And you can see the Ferrari behind us has actually got past the RCF. It was the Ferrari, and or is it the NSX? I think it might be another NSX actually. And he's got past the RCF and is now obviously on a charge. As you can see now, we're approaching halfway in this race. In these FIA races, I have decided now to pretty much pit every time dead on halfway through. Just split it 50-50 and do the pit stop. With none of that not fuel not pitting business. As you can see there, we're getting very close to these two leaders, as they're obviously fuel saving. You can see I'm fuel saving and gaining on them, so they're trying to save as much fuel as they possibly can. As you can see there now, GTB Twizzy has a massive moment. I didn't know what to do then. I thought if we go right, is he going to hit me? So I decided to go left, and luckily it was the right choice. We get ourselves past Twizzy, and he's made that error there going through that corner that he nearly lost it on before. A real tricky corner in that NSX by the looks of it. It looks like it just wants to spit that car out and chuck it off the track. But now we've managed to get ourselves up to second, but we're going to be going into the pits, and I know I did kind of have an idea that they would be slightly lighter on fuel, but I wasn't really thinking about it at this stage. So you can see going into the pits, I really pushed it through there, putting the racing hard tyres on. And now what I was thinking I was doing was I was going to put more fuel than what I needed in. As you can see there, I also got the fuels wrong. I could see they were quite heavy on fuel, but they were only a little bit more than us. They were on 9 litres more, and we went a little bit over our diamond. Really, I should have gone under that. Looking back on it now, look at that. We've actually come out in P5 behind, of all cars, the RCF. Which is nearly impossible to overtake in a straight line. So I think if we would have just under-fueled a bit and saved some fuel on this last stint, pretty much followed the strategy we were doing that first stint, we would have probably been in 5th place and a bit behind. I think we would have been a bit behind Twizzy, but just look, they're not that far up on the track. It was just I think that little bit of extra fuel that I put in has cost me 2 places on the grid, as these two guys have been saving a lot of fuel in that first stint, and unfortunately for us, we're down to 5th place. And it's actually 8th place, but obviously it's technically 5th because you've got 3 cars that haven't pitted yet. I think there's a couple of cars in the lead there that haven't yet pitted. They're obviously going to go for pitting on lap 9. But again, you can straight away see, look at the speed that RCF has on the straights. It is just such a fast car, and this is what this race was really enjoyable. I do like this in races. It feels so real when you've got different cars with different traits, and you know, my car was definitely the faster car around the corners, but that RCF in front of us is just an absolute monster on the straights. It just pulls and pulls. Straight away there you can see the way it pulls from the corners. Some of it could be to do with the gearing, a lot of it's just to do with the power, and unfortunately for us, on the last BOP change, the Toyota GR.4 actually got a 1% decrease in power, which also wasn't helping us out. As you can see now, as soon as we get to the straights, just watch the way his car pulls away and away and away. Even though we're in the slipstream, his car is just pulling away, and there's not much I can do about that through this stage now. What we've got to do is just try our best. As you can see now, the positions have now filtered through, and we're in 5th place. Unfortunately, let's see, we're only 2 point something seconds off the leader, but because of that annoying pit stop where we lost time, we're now in a situation where we've got the fuel to run 1 fuel mixture to the end. However, we're stuck behind 2 other guys now, and this guy in front of me, he was holding me up a bit. You can see straight away we've got the speed through the corners. I'm having to take tight lines. I'm really trying to put him under pressure. As you can see there, he hasn't got the cornering grip that we've got, but look at the difference in the straight line speed. Even though he messed up the exit of that corner, look at the way his car is now pulling away. It's one of them things you just can't do nothing about. All I could hope to do is put him under some pressure and make a move if he makes an error anyway, and try and spot some weaknesses in his driving. This is all I could really do, is just try and find somewhere where he wasn't particularly the strongest on the track. So that's what we're doing now. We're having a little look on the inside, just trying to make him aware we're there, showing him our car, letting him know that I've got the speed. You can see with P3 isn't exactly pulling away at this stage, so the RCF is actually catching him a little bit. We're putting pressure on the RCF. This is a great battle. You can see there we've got all top 5 all on one bit of stretch of road after 10 laps at Brands Hatch. Absolutely brilliant racing. This is another reason why I play GT Sport. You don't get this racing on any other console racer, and I say console because obviously you get it on iRacing, but on console as a public lobby you do not get this kind of racing. The only way you get this is in league racing on, say, Project Cars or something like that, but that's once every week on a league that's organised. This is every night on FIA races in public lobbies at the tops. Obviously this is a top split race with we're mainly all SS rated drivers, so the racing is going to be clean and fast, but it's why I love playing this game, and it's why I enjoy bringing you guys these videos. It's just so enjoyable to be involved with. As you can see now, I'm putting some real pressure on. You can see we've got that camera looking back at us, and you're going to see us put some real pressure on that camera now. So if you want to concentrate on that camera every now and then, have a little look at that camera that's looking back. You're going to see me moving about, showing him I'm there, putting the pressure on, trying to make an error. I wanted to force an error because there wasn't much I could do in terms of overtaking him on a straight line. Even if we got side by side with him, we wouldn't have the speed. As you can see there, we pushed it through there, a little bit of oversteer on the exit, but we managed to save that fairly easily. No real big issue. Going through this corner again, really we could gain through these corners. This is where our car was really strong compared to the Lexus in front of us. So again, on the power as soon as it can, and again he's pulling away even though we're in that slipstream. It's frustrating, but I do enjoy it. It's what racing is all about, you know, different cars, different traits. This is what racing is, and I absolutely love GT Sport for that, and I think they're getting the BOP very close to being spot on soon. You can see the way it is. You know, some cars are going to have to be stronger at some tracks, some cars have got strength on other tracks. It's all to do with strength of the car, and that's what we want in these races with the BOP. And they're definitely making progress with the BOP, especially in the GR4 class. You can see there's a definite advancement in the BOP, and especially with the fuel now, the way they're doing the races, it's not so much about fuel saving. Obviously fuel saving comes into it, but it's not as big as it was in the past. So they're definitely making solid progress with the BOP, which is really good to see, and hopefully they can keep making that progress. You know, the more close they get the cars, and so you get races like this where you've got myself in a car that handles really well, and the guy in front of the car that just accelerates and pulls away on the straights, and especially when you've got drivers that can utilise both of these assets of the car, it really does make for some really entertaining racing. You can see again we're getting really close, looking at the rear view mirror, looking back on the car behind, from the car in front of us, looking back on ourselves. You can see through the corners I was really getting him under pressure, but then he was managing to pull away and give himself a bit of breathing space. You could see that he was really starting to try and push through the corners to give himself more of a breathing space, as now third position is starting to pull away a bit, and that was frustrating me because I know that I had the speed to beat I think I had the speed to beat P3, but luckily for himself, we got caught behind this guy in the Lexus, and he's doing a really good job at keeping us behind him. You can see he's using the abilities of his car. P3 isn't pulling away at a massively rate, but you can see P1 and P2 are starting to eke out that lead now, as we're really struggling to get past this guy. I'm having to lift off mid corner because he just seemed to be struggling on that one corner. I did start to notice that was the corner that he was really struggling on. So what I was thinking now was, you're going to see me start to show, you know, like that I can see that he's weak on that corner now, and every time we come to that corner again, I'm going to have a little look and see if, I didn't want to make it obvious that I was going to throw a move up there, but I just wanted to have a little look just to see how weak he really was there. So every lap now, we're going to check that out, and again, going through that corner, he gets the oversteer, but because of that car's power, he's able to just accelerate out of that, and now P6 is quite a long way behind us. You can see this is a battle between 5 cars basically. I think P2, 1 and 2 is sorted, and P3, 4 and 5 within about 1.5 seconds of each other. You can see us all there. Even Twizzy's only a little bit ahead on the track. Org has obviously saved the fuel. Pretty much, I think he had gone for what my plan was: save a bit of fuel, then overfill the car, and then go flat out to the end. That's what I wanted to do, and it was frustrating. You can see even being stuck behind this guy in front and having to lift in certain places, we're still in the 1 minute 29s and at 29.7 one lap. You can see, so we had potential to be into the very low 1 minute 29s, which at this point is what TRL Org was on, a 29.0. So our pace was going to be, you know, we had the pace. It was clear to myself that we had the pace, but when we were behind him in this phase, we couldn't really do much. So again, we're going to have a little look through this corner that he seems to struggle on. You're going to see it again. Let's see if he struggles on it this time. So going into corner again, he has to take quite a weird, unusual line. I'm going to have a little look at this corner this time, but then I think better of that. I thought, I can see that there was a chance there, but I thought, I'm not going to throw it up there. It was a little bit too far back, and also I just didn't feel confident on that lap there. I don't think it was really an okay opportunity to make, but he's definitely struggling, the guy in front. He's feeling the pressure. We're putting him on as much pressure as we physically can. P3's having a nice easy race there. He's not really under pressure, so he's able to just concentrate on his lines. I'm going to have a look at every opportunity that I can to try and put some pressure on the P4. We're going to go for any slight chance I've got where it's a good chance of an overtake, I will go for it. But if I feel like there's a risk of, you know, contact and a penalty, I didn't want to take that risk. You can see again, I had a look there. I seen him take it. He got a really poor exit from that corner. Luckily for himself there, though, he made enough of an exit that got him reasonably safe. So I didn't want to make a move into that corner. Again, going through these real fast corners now, he goes a little bit wide there. I have a little look, but he's covered that corner, and again, I'm just trying to push my car to each side of the road, having a look where I can go. Again, I'm going to have a little look down the inside. I want him to think that I'm going to have a look down that inside, but we get ourselves back on line for this corner because I wanted to get a nice clean exit off this corner. It was really important that I got a nice exit off there because we need to be looking to make a move into that hairpin after this corner now. So again, we're going to see if he can take this corner a bit better this time. So we're going to try and take it nicely. He lifts very early there, gives himself a better line, but I'm really close this time. So again, I'm going to look out to that right, and I'm just going to go for it. You can see I brake really late. He brakes a little bit too early, gives us space. I stay all the way to the right hand side of the track to make sure I give him plenty of space, and we've got that position. So some real pressure has got us at P4 back, and unfortunately I think we're a little bit behind now to make it up in a lap and a half to get into P3. So you can see now on the replay camera, we're going to make that move, go into the right hand side. You can see there, side by side, into the corner, and then tighten on the apex. And now what we've got to really try and do is just concentrate on pulling away from P5 and making sure that he's not going to be able to make a move. Obviously that car is so fast in a straight line. Going into this corner though, we run a little bit wider, don't hit the apex up. You can see there, miss the apex slightly, but luckily we get into third gear reasonably well and able to pull away on the straight okay. So he's a little bit too far back to really make a move, but you can see the distance. Look how much he closes up on the acceleration there. He's caught us up, but he's not able to make a move. And just look at the speed difference through the corners now. You're going to see I did push for the rest of this lap just to give myself a cushion, but then I kind of realised that P3 was out of the question. You know, it wasn't worth the risk. but what I really wanted to do was just build up a little bit of a cushion to the guy behind me. So you can see going through the corners, I'm pushing reasonably hard, going through to this fast left-hand corner, trying to get on the power nice and early. You can see we've already built ourselves up 7/10 of a gap to the guy behind, and then going through the last corner, this is where he's going to gain again, but we know that we're much stronger on the turn 1. So we're going through that corner there. We've got over 7/10 of a gap between the guy behind already, so it shows the pace that we did have. But you know, we're already in the 1 minute. We're back into 1:29 straight away, even with that overtaking. It does show the speed that we probably would have had, but again, not much we can do right now. So going into turn 1, trying to take it nice and tight to the apex, getting on the power reasonably early. We started to catch up P3 at this point, but it really was not worth the risk. You can see there, going through that split, a reasonable sector time there, and you can see that I think Org has actually got himself into the 1:28, so you can see there. So he's got some real solid pace at 1:28.9, I think that is. So I think we had potential to get within 3-4 attempts at that time, maybe 3 attempts. I don't think we would have been dead on his time. I think he would have had us covered in terms of full out race pace. But I think we had P3 really in the bag, but that just a poor decision in the pits. And at this stage now, I've just decided just to take it easy, not push too hard. I didn't want to take any risks, you know, making an error on the corner. So you can see I'm giving the corners a lot of space, not risking anything on the corners, making sure that we're not going to come too close to the edge, even on the left hand side there. Look how much space we're leaving. We're just trying to make sure we brake nice and early, keeping the car on the track. The guy behind us starts to catch up a little bit at this stage, because obviously we're taking it really easy, but it was just a case of getting to the line now. I knew that P3 was out of the question, so there was no point taking any risks, and we go over the line. You can see now we've still got 0.3 of a fuel. We're going to probably end on 0.02, so we could have just, I think, you know, we ran 1 fuel all the way there. I think if we would have just judged our fuel better, so we could have fuel saved a bit, we could have had a comfortable P3. But that's what this racing's all about, you know, little decisions that can lose you a lot in these races. And another really enjoyable race in the FIA races. I thoroughly enjoyed that. And we're going to take a little look at the standings now, and I'll show you, you know, what's going on. We finished 7 seconds behind. Obviously, unfortunately for us, third place had a penalty, so if we would have got a little bit closer, if we would have carried on pushing, we possibly could have got that third place, but I wasn't to know that. A little bit frustrated with myself there, but you can see there we're down into I think we're in P like 50 odd overall, but we've only done 1 race. A lot of these have done 2 races, so once the races get into your best races, we should be fairly close there. You can see in the manufacturers we're in P5, so TRL Org has also done 1 race like ourselves, but he's going to end up taking P1. It looks like it's going to be a good battle between Boca Momo and you can see there, I think Cobra also, and IRT Nisman also all using the same car. So this is going to be a real struggle to get into this top 24 stars race, and I'm going to do my best to do that. Although, you know, if we don't do it, I can't really complain, because there's some top drivers in this car. Anyway guys, hope you enjoyed that video. We're going to be back with more of the FIA races, more daily races, more track guides, everything that you know I can do is to try and help you guys out as well. We've got quite a few laps to upload for proper in-depth track guides that we will be uploading once we get some more time. Obviously they take a little bit longer to edit together, so I will get them sorted, and we're going to be back with more Assetto Corsa and Project Cars 2's videos as well. Thanks again for watching everyone.